The Syrian army has suffered another setback in the country's civil war. Forces loyal to President Bashar al-Assad have withdrawn from the city of Hama. Now, this comes after anti-government insurgents broke through army defenses and said they were marching towards the city center. The move follows another insurgent success, wresting power away from the city of Aleppo. CBC senior international correspondent Margaret Evans is in Beirut with the latest.
I guess if anybody was thinking that opposition advance on Aleppo over the weekend, which saw the coalition of rebel groups take the city from Syrian government forces, was a one-hit wonder. We're now seeing that same rapid advance going south now to take Hama. Earlier today, we were hearing conflicting reports about fighting. Both sides, the government and the opposition, saying they had entered Hama and were pushing the other side back. That clearly isn't what the outcome has been. We have some video that is taken by media groups loyal or connected to the opposition forces. They showed the opposition advance through what appears to be an abandoned Syrian army base. You can see some of the equipment and vehicles left behind there. And we then later saw a statement from the Syrian army, which had earlier been saying it had repelled the opposition, the rebel advance, saying that it in fact had withdrawn its forces from Hama, saying that it had done so to avoid civilian injury. Of course, the Syrian army, you have to remember, is known for very aggressive, brutal tactics in terms of the way that it conducts its own battle. So, you know, that is what the Syrian army is saying that they're doing. They're not admitting that they actually are on the back foot, but we've also seen some video, as yet unverified, that seems to show the rebels actually at another air base with rebels climbing over a helicopter and what looks to be a Syrian army jet left behind. So the Syrian army has retreated from Hama. This is a major success for this coalition of opposition groups, which are led by a group called Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which is a former al-Qaeda affiliate trying to distance itself from that past, but it is an Islamist group. But there are other groups, opposition groups in this umbrella group, if you like, and they have received traditionally backing from Turkey.
And Margaret, you know, we were all quite shocked at how suddenly they had managed to take control of Aleppo, such a significant city in Syria and in the region. Tell us a bit more about the significance of Hama.
Well, Hama, of course, is a city at a crossroads. It is, you know, significantly, dramatically on the road to Damascus. There's another major city between Damascus and Hama called Homs. Hama is also close to Latakia, to the Syrian coastline, which of course is an Alawite stronghold. That is the sect of the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. And so it's close to there. So there's the potential for supply lines to be cut, you know, between the coast and Hama, between Hama and at least Homs and potentially Damascus. So geographically it's important. It's also got real symbolic importance for opposition groups inside Syria. It was the site of a major massacre in 1982 ordered by Bashar al-Assad's father Hafez to put down a revolution. And the leader of the former al-Qaeda affiliate, whose name is Abu Muhammad al-Julani, issued a statement today on video in which he said that the entrance of the opposition forces into Hama was to cleanse a 40-year-old wound. He also said that it was not an entrance that would involve revenge, according to God's will. So lots of very rapid breaking developments. One more thing to point out about the coastline and the Alawite stronghold, the al-Assad stronghold. That's also where Russia has important naval bases. Of course, you're going to see and have seen Syria relying on Russian air power. A well-known watch group has said that earlier the Syrian army was relying on airstrikes and barrel bombs from helicopters in the fight for Hama. But this is a major question, of course, is what kind of support is Bashar al-Assad going to be able to rely on from Russia? Russian airstrikes were key in his ability to retake Aleppo back in 2016. But of course, Russia has the war in Ukraine to think about, and some of Bashar al-Assad's other allies, Iran, Hezbollah, the militia here in Lebanon, have been fighting their own wars with Israel, distracted there. And of course, this rebel advance that we see continuing now began on the very day that Israel and Hezbollah, the Hezbollah militia that has in the past supported the Syrian government, signed or agreed to their ceasefire. So a lot of unknowns still, but certainly very dramatic and very surprising to most of the analysts in the region that this is happening with the pace that it has so far.
CBC's Margaret Evans in Beirut. The Secretary General of the United Nations has described the latest developments in Syria as grave and dramatic. Antonio Guterres says he's been consulting with the President of Turkey, Syria's neighbor and a regional powerhouse. The UN chief says the fate of civilians caught in the crossfire is his greatest concern.
I emphasize the urgent need for immediate humanitarian access to all civilians in need and the return to the UN-facilitated political process to end the bloodshed. All parties are obligated under international law to protect civilians. Now, this latest offensive was launched into government-controlled areas by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, a group sanctioned by the Security Council, along with a broad range of other armed opposition groups. It has led to significant shifts in the front lines, and tens of thousands of civilians are at risk in a region already on fire.
The Secretary General also said the world is seeing the bitter fruits of a chronic collective failure of previous de-escalation arrangements to produce a genuine nationwide ceasefire.